Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Tanya Love Show. I am hoping everybody's having a great day. It is pretty rainy up in here, up in Vancouver, Washington, but we needed the rain. So hopefully you guys are all staying warm. I think it's kind of turning into winter most places. It's interesting, this past week I've had a lot of things happening that are connected to our power and expressing that wisdom to each of you listening today. So I feel very intuitive guidance this week that I'd be talking about reclaiming our power. And last night I went with Will. We went and saw this guy named Matt Kahn. I don't know if any of you guys know who that is, but if you haven't heard of him, maybe consider checking him out on YouTube. I think it's Kahn. But we went and saw him, and it was interesting because his presentation, he's just like speaking at a Unity Church in Portland. But his topic was all about living authentically and, in essence, taking back our power, and how in order for us to truly be happy and to, embody our divinity, we really have to live authentically and with integrity. And that is all back to what we talk about on this show every week, which is about integrity and alignment and how important spiritual alignment really is. And I know, like, in the world, we can get caught up in all the things we're doing and the facades and like what we look like and our appearances and our titles and our jobs, and think that all these things are what makes us important or worthy. And it can be exhausting. We can really be chasing a lot of external carrots to try to fulfill an empty void that many of us, if we don't have the courage to look within, we'll just be completely unconscious to what's really going on, and that we need to fill that emptiness inside. And I feel like this past week I taught a workshop, the Healing Through the Chakras workshop, and it was connected to the solar plexus, which is our power center. And it is where we read energy, where we're getting our intuitive hits and our inner guidance. I kind of think of it as my internal navigation system that is guiding me through life and helping me to discern through the bullshit. And we all have it, but it's amazing how many won't access it and will deny the voice of their intuition. And what I would say is, in life, I have great compassion for all of you that are ignoring it, because we're really taught to do that. We're really taught and conditioned from very early on to please everyone else, to do whatever makes mom happy, dad happy, grandma happy, our, teachers happy, our peers happy. And we're constantly conditioned to do this and live in this way and ignore the voice inside that's saying what really would make us happy. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is kind of crack that open and have the courage to look within and see how many of us are living authentically, and are we owning our power? Are we really owning our divinity? Or are we just kind of, projecting a sense of power over others? Are we manipulating others? Are we very controlling and bossy in our energy, which in essence is the absence of that true power? And so I'm going to give you guys the phone number in case you forgot and anybody wants to call in, because I do love to have live callers. So if anyone would like to join this conversation with me, you can call in to 919-518-9773 or to Computers 2K Voice through Skype if you want to ask me any questions or share your feedback, your input, whatnot. So I give you that moment of opening there if you'd like to join the conversation. But I wanted to actually start. I'm going to read something. It's from a friend on Facebook, and I really love it, especially not just, I don't think that only women are, able to be vulnerable, but I don't see men doing it very often, and I love when I do. And this is a man that's a friend on Facebook, someone I haven't met personally, but I just felt like really impressed with his vulnerability and his speaking of his truth and owning his shit, because it's really important that we own it so that we can heal and that we can really move forward and transcend all the things we've been through that have caused us pain. And so a lot of, I feel, living authentically and taking our power back comes to really facing our stuff. And no one can tell you what that stuff is or how you're supposed to face it. People can try to tell you that, but really, it's a very personal journey, and we each have to access that in our own time and way, and how we look into situations and we can own what our lessons were and what we took from that situation. And I really feel personally that there is no such thing as mistakes. I feel like we live a life, this life experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we're here to experience. And so everything we're going through, if we're in that spiritual alignment, we're learning lessons and we're growing and evolving with every lesson that we access. But at the same time, we could be taught and conditioned that we're making mistakes and we're bad people, we're sinners, we're, bad girls, bad boys. And if we're operating under that energy and we're enslaved in that belief system, that can be a really tough journey for a soul to find liberation when you're enslaved in the bondage of you're a sinner and that you're making mistakes, because then we have this guilt and this pain and this shame, and we beat the shit out of ourselves with this stuff. And I personally feel from observation and my own life experience that will never be the recipe for alignment and for joy and for liberation. And that we really have to get to this place where we are in a deep state of self-love. And like any of my clients that work with me or students that come to yoga, any of my friends and my soul tribe, they know whenever they're going through something and they start to feel like a sense of shame or guilt, I remind them, love the crap out of yourself right now, because we need to get to that place where we can return to self-love and we can really love the crap out of ourselves and stop being so harsh on ourselves, because that is never going to help us find the peace that we're seeking. And so that's what we're going to kind of tap into today. But I'm going to read this confession that a guy on Facebook shared, and he'll keep him anonymous, but it's a man, and he says, I have a confession to make. Once upon a time, not so long ago, I was guilty of fear-mongering. I didn't trust anyone and was positive that the Illuminati, religion, my skin, the government, Satan, and many haters were to blame for all of the bad things in my life. And who knows, maybe they have had something to do with how things have panned out. But after some time with myself, I've come to understand that I've chosen about 99.99% of my experiences. This realization came about 2 years ago, and that's where I began to face myself and to face my pain. And so I faced my pain that I had covered up with false light and numbed with addictions and distractions. One of the greatest, if not greatest, gifts that we've been given by our Creator is that of free will. And unless someone has violated your free will, every one of your experiences has stemmed from your own choices. If you've had it rough, hearing this could be a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. And accepting the consequences of your choices is the first step to changing your experience. Is the relationship causing you grief? Is your job taking the life out of you? Hold on, I'm going to go to the next page. Okay, sorry, I had to change over because I cut it in half. Okay, so is your job taking the life out of you? Are your finances out of control? Are you depressed, etc., etc.? All of this stems from how you treat yourself. Treat yourself better, and your self-esteem will increase. As your self-esteem grows, so will your vibration. This is your life, and if you don't love yourself, no one else will do it for you. Life is about choices. There's no better one to make than choosing to love yourself. And I cannot agree with that more deeply. I feel like he nailed that. And I love how he says, like, as you choose to love yourself more and as your self-esteem rises, so does your vibration. And that is so true. It's all about vibration. When we come back and remember everything's vibrational, laws of attraction are in effect at all times. So when we're loving ourselves, we're going to attract and draw in a higher vibration of humans and experiences that will show us love, show us honor. They will be gracious, generous, respectful. And what I've personally learned as Tanya Love is that as I decided that I would no longer tolerate abuse and I would no longer be treated like a doormat, I would no longer tolerate children that were disrespectful and, unappreciative and demanding. I would no longer let others walk all over me. I would no longer give everything away for free because I cared so much about others that I would put myself in a space where it didn't really, always serve me to be giving so much. And some of you listening, if you can really be honest today, I would really encourage you to check in with yourself on, am I giving too much of myself? Am I giving away all of my beauty, all of my, goodness, my money, my time, my energy? Am I giving it to everyone else except for myself? And if you are, really tune into why. If you can check in with yourself, why would I be doing that? Am I feeling love for myself, or do I feel like I need to get everybody's approval out there so that then I'll be good enough? Do I need everybody to think I'm awesome, and so I'm playing a popularity game and maybe hanging out with people that are not of integrity, sitting around gossiping, talking negative about people, and not really having honor and integrity? And if I'm doing that, why am I doing that? And so a lot of what this man was sharing is like, we have to check in with ourselves and see, why are we living in these ways, and we're creating these distractions? We're, hurting ourselves and enslaving ourselves with addictive behavior. And if we're not really loving ourselves and we're doing this in a hopes to fill some void, I can promise you and save you all a lot of the time that that path is never going to fill that void. I've listened to many celebrities talk about this. I've read many biographies of celebrities. I remember one in particular I think I've shared about before, Madonna, and I love Madonna, but she, lost her mom when she was a young child, and it drove her, and she had an amazing drive, and I feel like she's an amazing creative person, but it was all for that deep burning desire to have people love her and approve of her, and she needed to be in the spotlight. She needed the attention on her 24/7, and it was really hard for her in relationships, and just no matter how much money she got, no matter how much fame she got, no matter how many lovers she had, it never satisfied that void. And some of you, if you can tune in, if you can relate on that, I encourage you to start tuning in now and, cultivating a practice of meditation and mindfulness. And it doesn't have to be this hard thing. We don't have to think, meditation means I have to be very disciplined and go and, chant certain things, and I have to do it for so many hours a day. And I really feel like it's the opposite of that. And we can even approach our spiritual practices in a very addictive, dogmatic way that are really not beneficial. I feel like it's really about being playful and being free and being childlike and just simple and being still. And so no matter how that feels right for you, if you can start to give yourself permission to have that time to be still and present every day, and to just tune in every moment as something's coming to you and it doesn't feel comfortable, and to tune in and ask what's going on inside of you. And so a common thing, this is something that I will just show you what I do. Let's say someone's lashing out and they're being really hateful to me, and I'm just like, whoo, what's that about? And I'm kind of processing it. And I walk away and I'm like, I'm going to go on a walk. And this is what I'll typically do. Go on a nature walk, or sometimes go take a hot salt bath. But I'll just kind of tap my heart and I'll just ask, like, what's going on inside of you? And what's going on, Tanya? What are you feeling inside? And so I'm not so worried about what all the stuff externally is about. What do they think about me? Why are they being mean to me? That's all just the energy that's coming at me to help me tune in. And so if I can tune in, what's going on inside? What are you feeling? And then maybe I'm like, I feel like I need to cry. And then I let myself cry, and I let myself release old energy or emotions connected with the person, or maybe it's not even the person itself that I have to deal with, but they triggered something that I need to release. And so if we can each get in the habit of tuning in the now, like immediately, I personally feel your highest priority is your self-love, and our highest priority is our alignment with our source. So if somebody is attacking you psychically, verbally, emotionally, physically, whatever it is, your priority is not to go get really busy and go to work and pretend it didn't just happen. It's actually really important that we don't use all of our world, life, situation stuff as a distraction for the now. And whatever's coming in now, if we can just access that emotion and feel it and be very present with it, it's amazing how swift we can clear things and we can really get to know ourselves better and help ourselves heal and come back and return to a place of self